Welcome everyone to another Discord live class. My name is Goro Fujita. The weekly prompt is imagine your friend, and I think we can do something. We could actually do an interior, like maybe an interior corner, like maybe a character reading a book, and there's a monster who has maybe some lanterns or something on his antennas that. I don't know. I come up with something, but I'm going to start working on the environment first. So let's think it's like a room with a bright carpet, right? So at this point, I'm already thinking, maybe I will just do this. Maybe this will help. So I'm already thinking we have like nighttime, right, with some stars. So this is outdoors, right? So this is what comes through the window. And then indoors, we have, the walls, so bright carpet, and maybe the walls are probably even brighter, something like this. This would be indoors local color. That makes sense. And then we have maybe a bed. Yeah, Daniel can't make it last minute, so I'm covering for him. So I'm going to do like a lighting tutorial here. So hope you guys enjoy that. And then we will have maybe like a purple monster. Green or purple? You decide. Give me a color.
Me?
Yeah, or anyone.
Purple.
Okay, purple. Good. So we have a purple monster here sitting, and maybe he has like a light on his antenna, so I'm just gonna indicate it here. I'm just breaking down like local colors right now, so this will be like much brighter, just to show you what's going on in my head before I actually start painting, right? So we have this, and then we have a kid. Maybe he has the kid has a white shirt with stripes. Let's do blue stripes, something like this, right? And then we have the face here, the hair, and maybe blue PJ pants or dark blue PJ pants. So, and they're reading a book together. Maybe the book is red or white pages. So this is kind of like already what's in my head. So this is what's outside, right? The starry night sky, and this would be inside. So how do I convert it into like a dark space where it's lit by these lanterns, the antennas? Maybe he has two, that would be cool. It's important that you actually think about the setup already. Of course, in a freestyle, you can come up with it along the way, but it would be good for you guys to think about the basics, the foundation, right? Is it nighttime? What are the local colors you want to work with? And for example, stuff like I chose blue in contrast to the purple, right? So, if this was purple, it doesn't look as interesting because then these colors merge together, right? So all of these things are already deliberate decisions. But this is kind of like a rough sketch that I never do like this, but I kind of have in my head, right, before I start working. So let's work on the environment first. And as you know, I always work on the environment first because it actually informs my lighting. So I can't actually start with with props and stuff like that, because then I get confused how to light them, right? So I'm gonna start blocking in the room. So let me just do a corner, just like what I did with the chair. So I'm just gonna freehand a bunch of strokes here, because I was just telling Roxandra that I'm just gonna do like an abstract, more like painterly piece for you guys, because that is something I haven't covered in the past, right? So that might be actually very interesting, and like how much you can actually sell with just colors and composition versus like being like super accurate in terms of like details, right? So I'm not even using the grid snap here, right? So it's just like freehanding things, and just like put this down here. And I also keep everything on one layer, right? So here, I'm not too worried about the colors yet because I can recolor. Here is more like, get the variety of brush strokes, and I'm using the line tool because it's like gives it a really cool look that I'm looking for. If I do hand drawn stuff, sometimes it's hard to block in like large shapes, and with the line tool you can do it like really quickly. And if you have like questions, I'm open for them. So at any time you can just scream and ask me questions. Right? So we need a window here. So let's see. We're going to put a bed over here. So we probably need a window here. So I'm going to punch a hole in there. And then do something like this. And, I'm adding a lot of different colors to just get like a nice texture quality to it. But now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to multiply a little bit of blue in there, right? So this is like a night sky. So night light basically coming into a room. So the walls are a little bit, this wall is a little bit darker because it's basically not hit by the light at all. Maybe we'll brighten it up later a little bit once we have the lighting from the monster. This carpet will get a little bit more light. So let me just add a little bit of hint of blue. That's too much. Just a hint of blue, and make it also a little bit darker by multiplying something like this. This is good. And then this side can also be a little bit more closer to the carpet color. Oops. Something like this. Maybe add a little bit of blue in here. This looks good. And then I will make the background a little bit darker. And then I will add maybe like a blue thing on the outside of the window. This is basically showing the night sky. For people that jumped in late, Daniel Pager was supposed to do a stream, but something came up, so I'm covering for him. So I'm doing the daily prompt, which is like imaginary friend. So I'm just freestyling. This was absolutely not planned, so bear with me. But I also wanted to show you how I approach like more loose art in terms of like, if you want to conceptually visualize something. This is more like a VizDev color key, right? So how do I approach like those rough painterly looking ideas? And this is like how I'm gonna do it. So this is looking pretty good. I'm liking how it's shaping up. So for people that came in late too, this is kind of like what I have in my mind before I start to paint, right? So we have the starry night sky that comes out from the window into the room, and these are the local colors of the subjects that I'm going to paint. So this is like a bed, this is like a little monster, and this is like this little boy or girl that reading a book using the lights of this monster, right? So this kind of guides me in terms of like what I'm looking for in colors. So that's just what it is. It's the local color. It's not the lit version yet, right? But I never do this type of sketch. It's more like in my head, just visualizing to you guys that I'm already, before I start painting, thinking about the entire lighting scenario, what it's going to be, right? So, all right, so this is basically the background. So I'm just gonna start working on the props, right? So let's do like a bed or something. So this is gonna be the bed, and I'm just gonna switch to freestyle here. Not freestyle, I mean freehand painting for the bed frame. And I really don't mind if it's just like very loose, right? Because I want to sell the idea and I want to really focus on lighting in this tutorial today. So this is looking good. And then we have the mattress. So, and a lot of people ask me like, how do you pick this color? And that comes from a lot of practice and experience. I always say the same answer, but there's no easy way to figure that out. Like, to make this like if I show this feels like white, right? But if I actually pick the color, it's actually a dark blue, right? So it's crazy. If I do something like this and then pick this color and draw, see how dark this is? But in context, it becomes white, right? Because it's like important is what's adjacent to the color you put down. So if the colors adjacent to them are darker, then like a bed sheet like this could look brighter. So it's like always fascinating to me how relative color perception is. And this is going to be.
I was just going to say that I love how the color palette here is not it's not saturated at all, but it still feels super colorful because of the way you've used the layering.
Yeah, so I think the issue, not the issue, the trick is that because I do like realistic lighting, right? Like what I paint usually you could probably also render in a very similar way, because in the film industry, when you work on like movies like Madagascar and stuff like that, you can't just do like imaginary colors, right? You have to make the art also like renderable. So in my mind, I'm always thinking about, how like I naturally gravitate towards realistic lighting, even if it's a cartoony environment, right? So now the saturation will come. The thing is like, this is the foundation for the lighting, and then I can show you, it's pretty magical. Like if I turn on the light here, right? That's when I start using saturated colors, and you see how amazing it looks. Like once you put down the highlight color, how vibrant it becomes. But this is basically like the ambient lighting that I'm working on right now, right? So, and let me know if you guys have any questions. Like I'm here to answer them anytime, practicing my multitasking skills in terms of like painting and talking at the same time. Oh, we have Yari here, we have Peter here. Hey guys. Just putting some toys on the ground. And I like using the ribbon brush because the ribbon brush is just so small, right? So I can optimize it like hardcore, and I can probably share this to Media Studio. I mean, that should be the idea, right? So let me just save every now and then let me put some more details on the wall. So let's do some images here. So this is like a picture frame, and like I like adding a little bit of hand-drawn quality to them by just hand drawing them. And then what kind of poster should I do? Maybe a Soda Island ghost or something, right? Oh, silence would be nice. Funi, this one is for you.
I'm moved. The fun art.
Yeah, this boy is a Soda Island fan, so this is silence, but it's a nice silence. And maybe he's sitting in a grass field or something. Just put this on the wall. We need some stars, right? Or the soda bubbles. Soda bubbles. Okay, that's better. Let's do this. Doesn't have to make a ton of sense, right? But I think this is fun.
Makes sense.
Okay. All right, there you go. We have a painting here. This is cool. Let's duplicate this frame. Maybe give it a different color. Let's give it, maybe this frame is like brown. What else should I draw in here? Any ideas? Any suggestions? No? Come on.
A 50s sci-fi movie poster.
Okay, that's good. Let's do that. So he is more like into like night stuff and space stuff, so it's going to be a boy. So we have this, and then we have like a something like this, like a rocket. So you see here, I'm already like thinking about, you know, like when I'm painting it with the actual shadow color, right? So I'm not, this is like a white rocket, but I'm painting it in dark gray because I'm already thinking about the lighting, right? So maybe it's like 3 jets, something like this. And then let's do like this. And maybe there's an alien looking out. Way. Looks like TT. Oh, no. Make the interior a little bit darker here so we can see it better. You know, like I really, you know, don't mind that this is like super rough. That's what it's supposed to be. And then we can call it aliens or just alien. This is actually too bright. This looks like it's self-illuminated. So I'm just gonna make it a little bit darker. Yeah, that looks better. Okay. There we go. Okay, this is starting to look really cool. Let me just add some light switches here. Here, you know, like always thinking about bevels and stuff already, right? So I have like an underside here, and then the top side could be brighter. And I'm just indicating it here, a light switch, you know, doesn't have to be like complete. And I also make sure that it's actually intentionally pretty rough. So this is looking good. So I'm just gonna put it here. Oops. Come back here. Maybe there's another outlet, power plug here. So let me just change this to a power plug. And this side is going to be a little bit darker because there's no light coming through, right? So I'm just gonna do something like this. And how are we doing on time? We're like barely 20 minutes in, right? And this is looking already pretty cool. All right, this is turning out pretty nice. I want to also start doing the shadows. So I'm gonna go back to my foundation layer here and just add some shadows. So this is going to be the shadow under the bed. And I also want like some sort of rug. So because the monster is going to be pink, let me just do like a more, maybe a brown rug or something. Brown, no, maybe bluish, dark blue. That might look pretty cool. Let me do this. And then I don't want to do stripes because the boy is going to have stripes. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to add like a little trim here. Oops. Just freehand it. Yeah, this looks good. And then just put it down here. You know, and intentionally, like I'm fine if it's not like if things are poking through, you know, this is just a loose painting. It just should sell ideas, right? So I'm fine if it's like not perfect. I actually want it to not look perfect, right? So this is looking good. This area can actually be a little bit darker. And then of course this corner can also be darker. So I'm just gonna make it a little bit darker because there's that contact shadow, right? And just like here as well. Just using multiply here to make it a little bit darker. This is good. I want to unify the color on the ground a little bit. Oops, a little bit here. Let me just pick this color. So unify it a little so there's like less contrast so it actually looks like carpet. And I'm gonna do the same for the walls. So let me just unify it a tad. Bring the colors a little bit closer together, so by doing so it becomes a little bit less contrasty. So now it actually looks like a cool room, right? So I'm just gonna close this window off with some extra masking. Just like this. This is looking good. All right, save, and then we can work on maybe start working on the characters. So I'm gonna create a new layer, and let's do like the purple monster first. So I'm thinking about what could it look like. Maybe it could look like, let me see. Let me just quickly illustrate something here. Maybe it could be something like this one eye or two eyes. One eye or two eyes. Maybe it's like a hammerhead shark type of thing. Something like this.
Yeah, this looks
right?
good.
Something like this. And then he has like those antennas. He looks like a cockroach. Something like, maybe, let me see. Do something. Oops.
Space shrimp.
A shrimp?
Space shrimp.
Space shrimp, yeah. Yeah, that's actually a cool idea. So it could be shrimp inspired. So it could be something like, you know, this. He has like this body armor. Something like this. And then, you know, maybe I can actually use this, what I'm drawing right now. We'll see. And then he has like these cool lanterns. Maybe one. Just one. Oops. I just want to freehand it. Freehand it. And then it's like an anglerfish, right? Space shrimp anglerfish type of thing. So this is going to be the lantern he's going to use to light the book the boy is reading. So he's like looking at the book. And then maybe he has like multiple arms. This. And then legs. Something like this. Oops. Yeah, I think that's pretty cool. Maybe he's standing.
Third dominance.
Yeah. He's standing. This is good. Okay. Yeah, I like this actually. So I'm just gonna keep this. Oops, let me turn off selecting all layers. And then let me just darken this guy. So now, you know, I used blue on purpose, so because the blue light is coming in. So now he looks like he's more in shadow, right? So this is working really well. So let me just put him in an angle. Maybe he's a little bit bigger, something like this. And then he puts his arms on his hip. Maybe he's also relaxing at the same time. Just like this. Let's see what that looks like. If it looks weird, I'm gonna change it. But yeah, this looks kind of weird. Just maybe he's holding the light so it doesn't move. Let me see if that works. Something like this. And let me see if that works. Holding the light. That might add a little bit more character to the story. Yeah, he's like, I'm holding it still for you. Oh, that's actually kind of cute. That's going to be
Adorable.
good. Yeah. This arm, I don't like this arm, so let me put this on his hip as well. Moving it out of the way. Yeah, and this looks cool. Awesome. All right, let me turn the light on. So for the light, I'm just gonna do an anim brush. So let me just do like a 12 frame cycle. hit play, and then anim brush the light. And I'm just gonna do a little bit of a outline as well that is static. Yeah, that's pretty cool. And let's see if I can do like something cartoony here. Oh, that's pretty cool. It's kind of like sparkling. It's completely freestyle, by the way, here. So yeah. This is the fun portion of like doing freestyle. It's just coming up with ideas on the fly, but still having a general concept. But this looks really cool. It looks very painterly. I like this. So I'm just gonna work on this guy. So let's see. There's some light coming from here. I kind of want almost like another light source. So, you know, I could imagine, let me see. This will light here. I think this is going to be good as a main light source. Okay, so let me just work on the local colors now. So wherever the light hits, you will start seeing the local color, right? So I'm just gonna work on his hand again. So he's just gonna hold his little antler, or not antler, antenna, like this. And I'm just gonna go back to the ribbon brush and this freehand some lighting on top. So because I want to have the painterly look, I actually don't want the sphere brush to show too much. So I'm just gonna do this. So now you can see how this is already lit, right? So it's like starting to work. And when the face is turned away from the light also gets the highlight also gets a little bit darker. So highlight is not always one color. It's quite the opposite. There's a lot of colors, right? So now you can see how this light is affecting the elbow. So we will see also a little bit of a fall of light. Here the light is hitting the inside of the elbow as well. Not elbow, upper arm. So let's do this. And then imagine we have another window on this side. Something like this, right? So we can actually add a little bit of like night light coming through. So I'm gonna go a little bit cooler, something like this. This will look really cool. And then just to define his body. This spray shrimp. And you can also see, you know, I try to really pick the colors myself. Let me turn on the grid. Picking meaning like directly with a color picker from the color picker window. I can unify areas that I don't like later, but this is basically what's lit by the light. So it's hitting the body. And we also have some light in his face, so we're gonna bring it a little bit lower. Then it falls off a little, so let me just go a little bit more purple. Here the light falls off. And this is starting to look really nice. And let me make it a little bit warmer. So this is the area where the light hits the strongest. Yeah. And then I'm gonna select these and colorize them a little bit closer to the highlight color so it blends better, right? And then we have the slight blue on the other side here, and then maybe a slight blue on this side from the window as well. This is actually too bright over here, so let me make it a little bit darker. And then these guys need to be also a little bit darker, a bit more fall off. Yeah. This is starting to look nice. All right, so let's do the eyes. For the eyes, I'm just gonna use a flat ribbon brush here. something like this. And then he will have a highlight. I think we have more people now here, for the people that joined in late, unfortunately Daniel couldn't make it, last minute family stuff, so I'm just subbing for him, showing how I approach like painterly pieces, keeping it rough, doing something with like deliberate lighting. One thing that I enjoy the most when painting. So I approach it exactly like how I would approach a Photoshop painting as well. Or Procreate, doesn't really matter. Yeah, this is good. Not trying to be cocky saying I'm so good. No, I like how it's turning out. So.
This is so cool. It looks amazing.
Oh, thank you. All right, let's see. So I'm just putting a little bit of blues here. Blue color bouncing around in the room. Yeah, this is good. All right. It's really coming together. And, whenever I paint, also in Photoshop, I want to make sure that, at any time I can stop and it will kind of, like in the first 30 minutes, you want to have like everything blocked out, right? And VR, it could take sometimes a little bit longer because you have to like accommodate for multiple perspectives and angles and stuff like that, but the first 30 minutes are crucial. Like we are about 30 minutes in actually right now. And you see that I laid the foundation, right? So it's already working really well. So, this is like, I put in like the little dip here and because I was thinking it's going to be like a monster like this. So now I have to reverse it because he's like a skinny monster, but that's fine. That's why we have the grab tool here to fix things up. And that's fixed now. So let me just add like this little bevel edge here, and then also add a little bit of shadow here. But also really use the opportunity to ask questions, right? You guys have been pretty quiet, but like I'm here to answer questions because a lot of things I do via muscle memory and might not make sense right away when you're watching. So just let me know if something is unclear and I can just go over it and clarify. So, don't be shy. Use this as an opportunity to learn.
I just had a question about how often you guys are doing this. I haven't been in a whole lot, but I saw there was a streaming going on, and so I hopped in.
Is it Sage? Siege? Who are you?
Oh, my name's Doma.
Okay, wow, your voice sounds like Siege. I was like, Siege, you should know that we do that pretty often. No, we do that every Saturday, actually. We try.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we try. Like every Saturday, usually at 10 a.m. Pacific time. But since Daniel is over in Mallorca, and he has 2 kids. For him, it's a better time to do it at 8 a.m. Pacific time, and that's why we're like up early. Where are you based?
Oh, I'm in Nashville.
Okay, so
this is like a solid mid-morning for me.
So usually it's a little bit later, like 2 hours later, right? So,
okay.
But we do that. We try to do it. We used to do it consistently every Saturday. I'm trying to keep the schedule up, but sometimes we run.
Catch them on like YouTube because whenever you guys are recording them, but it'd be awesome to be in and bother anyone with questions.
Totally. That's the point, right? We're doing this so we can share knowledge here, and it's been fun. Like this is stream number 96, I think. So.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So it should be every week. We do the announcements on Facebook and also here. So you might have noticed there was an event announcement. Yeah, but it's supposed to be every week. So let me see. Maybe he has some beard, like Zoidberg style. And just do something like this. Yeah, that looks cool.
I did have a question. So the animation that you did with the light,
yeah,
I've never really fully grasp that.
Super easy. So basically you create a new layer and you add empty frames by just hitting up on the joystick. So you create empty frames, right? So now there's nothing in there, right? And then you just hit play, make sure that the layer loops, and then you just paint. And here's the anim brush duration, so you can start painting. If you change the duration, the brush strokes become shorter. If you make it longer, the brush strokes becomes longer, right?
So the whole time you were painting that, it was just playing, and then you're just drawing the little sparkle come off.
So I just did this, and I just did this.
Okay.
Takes like 10 seconds, not even, right? So super powerful workflow. This is the stuff that it would take forever, and if you use a traditional 3D method, you know. So, okay, let's keep going here.
I don't mean to bother the paint session, but I actually kind of have a question when it came, like an animation question in Quill. I was wondering if someone can help me.
I might be able to help. Like, what's the question?
So what happened was, when I was the last time I was trying to animate stuff in Quill, I was trying to animate with the transform tools, and you know, I got all the settings down. I took the layer I wanted to animate. I placed the keyframes into the timelines, and I activated the gimbal selection for the layer.
Okay.
And when I selected, and when I placed down the keyframes, you know, I started from all the way from the very beginning to like where I wanted to stop. Now here's the weird part. When I play through the track, the gimbal box, the animation, the transform box itself, it wouldn't show up until maybe like 5 frames in. And I'm just like I am like at the time, like it wasn't really a big deal. Like I got the animation down, but I'm just wondering, like, and that just like confused the crap out of me.
Yeah, it sounds a little bit more like I probably need to see what's going on. What it sounds like is that you had something like this. You moved it accidentally. So, you know, the frame. So, for example, if I draw a stroke here, that's what I assume it is. But otherwise, like, you know, I would have to see it. But see, like, it doesn't show until, you know.
Yeah, like with the. Yeah, even after I've, you know, set down the keyframes and I've activated the transformation gimbal. Yeah, that one. Yeah, it wouldn't show up until like the fifth frame in.
And you're sure it wasn't like this? That it was like not shifted in the timeline?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I would have to see it. It definitely sounds odd, but there's probably a solution, pretty easy solution.
Maybe accidentally put some transparency keyframe.
That could be too, yeah.
Unstepped, because you might misclick, and instead of putting a normal keyframe, you put a transparency one.
Transparent, yeah.
Yeah. So if you accidentally have something like this, you know,
it's kind of tricky to do accidentally, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and then this is on stepped keys, you know, and then, but then it doesn't really show. So it could be anything like, but oops, what did I do? Oh, I think, okay.
Oh,
no, I can fix it. No worries.
I did this.
Okay, so let me just put it back. There,
please don't
fixed.
kick me out of the Discord server. I didn't intend any of this.
All right, we need a boy now. So let's work on the boy.
Yeah, I thank you. Thank you so much for answering that. Because it could be a bunch of things, but right now those two are kind of making the most sense right now.
Yeah, and a lot of people here, you know, are like super willing to help, right? So if you go to help general channel and ask and even put an example scene in there, you know, people will be able to help out. So really use that to your advantage.
You guys are awesome. Like, this is a wonderful community. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Sorry again for bothering, but
No, no worries. Like, this is what we're here for. So I'm just drawing like a boy here. Again, for the eyes, you know, like, again, you see, like, I'm not choosing white, but it looks like white, right? And this comes through a lot of practice. You know, you will be able to, you know, find the right color, considering all of this environment, right? So if the environment was bright, I wouldn't be able to pick the colors, right? I can pick them in my brain because I can look at the lighting in, I look at the lighting here as a whole, and I can see the adjacent colors. So I can, you know, always when I put a color down, I know instantly when it's wrong. So for example, this is too dark, so I'm just gonna bring it closer to the actual color, and I want a little bit more saturation in the ear. And actually, this is going to be one of my favorite things always to paint is subsurface scattering. So actually this can be much brighter because the light is coming through his ear, filtering from that little light bulb, right? So now you can see it looks like it's like coming through the light, right? It's pretty cool. So I'm just gonna do this, and this side might be a little bit different. So I could, you know, work on duplication and stuff like that, but I don't want things to look symmetrical. So I'm just gonna freehand it here. I really love working like this, like very loose. It's really fun. And it's a good practice always, you know, to, you know, validate your lighting skills and stuff like that.
It's crazy how the rough strokes, like when you look at them from afar, they feel so purposeful and it give it texture.
Yeah.
And then when you can look at up close, it just gives me anxiety. When you go far, it looks incredible. It looks even more realistic than when you try to paint realistic.
Yeah, so what I'm trying to do here is I let you complete the work, right? Your eyes. I let your eyes complete the work. And it's like, you know, with any type of gestural painting and stuff like that, you know, you don't need much detail as long as the strokes are placed with purpose, like you say, right? Like when they have purpose, and nothing is by coincidence what I do, right? Like the coincidence stuff is like, of course, this is, you know, it doesn't really matter how you place these strokes, but as long as they're placed with purpose, if that makes sense. I'm not sure if I'm confusing you more now, but yeah, they do have all purpose, and that's why, you know, it reads, right? Once I go away, it totally reads like hair now, but if I go close, you know, it doesn't really like, it's actually like super gestural and just like super rough, right? But yeah, that's what I love. Just staying loose and just let people complete it for you. And I didn't know that this was ever possible in 3D, right? But now I'm treating it like a 2D painting, just in 3D space, and it works just as nicely as in 2D. I love that part about it.
When you're doing it like that,
yeah.
If you wanted to animate this character now, are you still able to do things with?
For sure, I'm going to animate it. So okay. I'm setting it up for animation. So yeah. So also, yeah, that's another layer. That's a good point that you're bringing it up. It's another layer I'm thinking about. Contrary to when I work in Photoshop, I'm actually thinking about how I'm going to animate it. So, you know, like I'm like being careful. Like I'm gonna keep the head separate from the torso and stuff like that, but you can always separate strokes, you know, so you don't have to be too anxious about that stuff. But yeah, like I'm going to animate it, right? So he actually looks a little bit too old. He looks like a teenager, so let me just make the eyes a little bit bigger, make the proportion a little bit more childlike, and maybe not such a strong jaw. So I'm just gonna round it off a little. It's more a younger face.
May your child be a masculine child.
Yeah, here we go. Like it looks, let me just bend it in a little bit. Bend it in. There we go. So this looks, yeah, he looks much younger now. And then maybe a little bit of cheek. Okay, I think his jaw is still too strong. I want it to be rounder. So let me just use the grab tool here and make it a little bit rounder. And I make his cheek a little bit chubbier. This will help him to look a bit cuter, and maybe the forehead is a little bit higher. And maybe we can even scale this whole thing. Yeah, that's good. All right, let's work on the body. So we said he has like a white shirt with blue stripes. So I can just pick this white and just gonna draw like a t-shirt here. Sometimes I draw it like off to the side, just for better control, because I can shape it to this to anything I want after the fact. So I'm just gonna draw this like this. This is good, and then we have like blue stripes. And just freehand it. Yeah, and I can just grab tool it after the fact, right? So now I can go in and use the grab tool to shape it to what I need. And maybe I can just use this as a sleeve, reuse stuff, right? So there we go. And then, oops, I make sure that this shirt is like on a separate layer. I just selected and created a new layer that put the shirts on a new layer. And I'm just gonna put the character on one layer. So I made a mistake here. I want the shrimp on a space shrimp on a separate layer. And then we have this guy. I'm gonna go over time, by the way, because I want to finish this. We have like usually 10 minutes left, so it's usually 1 hour long, but I have time today, so I can just finish this off. Usually I'm faster, but when I talk, I'm exponentially slower, obviously, because I'm like explaining stuff and stuff like that. But yeah, usually like I would work much faster. So,
but still, this was really fast. Anything else that's out there, right?
Yeah. So yeah, the trick is really, like it's like everything, right? The more you do things, the less mistakes you make, the more targeted you can place your strokes, and then you get faster, right? Like as a result, you get faster. So you can see that I'm rarely redoing things, right? And that came from like really relentless daily practice, then you can actually get to a point, where you make less mistakes. Still far from perfect, of course, but it becomes like second nature. And once painting and stuff becomes second nature, that's when the real fun begins, right? Because then you can really focus on creativity versus like the technique. And like when I first got to that point where I felt like, oh, I know painting, I know lighting, that was like a really, really like fun moment for me, for sure. Because I felt like so empowered, like all of a sudden I could actually focus on story and the narrative versus like trying to figure out how lighting works. And yeah, that's why, I urge everyone, always practice, because it will pay off over time, like you go through up and downs. I still have downs quite a bit, where I don't feel as creative, but that's fine, like the learning process is never like a straight linear curve. It's always going to be like a, like a sinus curve, if that makes sense. Okay.
Yes, it does make sense. Thank you.
Yeah. But yeah, one thing that Quill does for me is like really like it removes handcuffs from me. Like I just feel free when I create and quill, and that's what I love about VR creation in general. It's just so liberating. You can just you feel like you're so empowered, and there you can see now how amazing the lighting's starting to work, how magical it looks, and this is just like also counterintuitive, right? That you would think black and highlight is brown, so. Black and highlight, of course, is only brown if the light is warm, right? So, and in this case, the light is warm. So that's why it is brown. And this is looking really cool. Oh, I'm liking how this is starting to work. But I think the boy is a little bit too big, so I'm just going to scale him down a tad. And then he will be sitting down. We said he has like, I think, dark blue PJ pants, so let me just let him sit down. So the decision I made with the rug, I don't like it actually, so I'm gonna fix the rug because the rug is, see, now it's like a little bit annoying to separate, but let me just see if I have this. There's a few more strokes, so let me just choose a different color, maybe something like this, just to be able to separate the PJ pants from the actual rug. So let me just paint this like this. Yeah, that looks better. I also didn't want to make it too purple so it doesn't compete with this guy, right? So let me just check back now. Now I go back to this boy, and I can actually create a new layer here. So this is going to be the torso. So the torso, let me type in torso. And this is going to be the head. And maybe I should save every now and then. Always a good idea. And the pants will be static. I'm thinking about animation, so the pants will be static. So maybe like he's sitting in like, is it cross-legged? How do you call this in English? Like when you sit like this? You sit like
cross-legged is
yeah,
good.
Cross-legged, right? Yeah. In German, it's Schneidersitz. Schneidersitz. That's how a YouTuber would say it. That's how Germans speak. For people that don't know, I grew up there, so that's why I know how to say that. And that's why I also have a German accent in my English. I hope it's not showing too much, but I do. It would be funny if I turn on my very strong German accent and I can actually run the stream with a very strong German accent. Yari will get a laugh out of this, but I can always turn it on whenever I want. But I also try to work on my pronunciation a lot because I like to, speak languages and pronounce things the best I can. But yeah, there's some words still, where it just shows. And sometimes, I see video recordings of myself and I'm like, oh my God, did I pronounce it like that really? That sounded really German. But, makes things more approachable though. So it's all good. And certain accent, yeah. What is it?
No, were you North or South Germany? Because I have friends in the South are like Schwabian.
Yeah.
It sounds completely different.
It does sound completely different. I'm from the North, like very like fisherman type of German, So they speak very different from the South. Yeah, I come from Hamburg. Actually, one of our community members, Piers from Lava Machine, he is also from Hamburg. So we share our hometown, which is awesome.
Nice.
I would say your accent now is quite blended, I think.
I'm trying, I'm trying. Some people, like a lot of people get actually confused because I look Asian, right? And then I don't have an Asian accent. I don't have a Japanese accent, right? And then people are like, I hear something, but I can't quite point it out what it is, right? But I can speak with a Japanese accent too. Then it sounds like that.
Oh wow.
I can do my stream like that though. But but yeah, Japanese accents can be pretty brutal to understand if it's really strong, and sometimes really difficult. But yeah,
That's amazing though that you can do that.
Still, my favorite is people like Leia with a French accent. French accent is so charming. Love hearing that. So look at that. This is cool. It's starting to work. This is fun. I love it when things work like this.
It was already working like an hour ago.
Thanks, Funi. So I'm just gonna give him. Did I move him? This is good. Just move him towards the bed a little bit. And then I will just keep going with his arms. So arms on a new layer, I think. And I'm going to put it under torso. So these are arms. Okay, so he's going to hold a book. Let's duplicate it.
Does he know that there's a space shrimp in his bed?
Oh yeah, that's
He's immersed in reading and he hasn't noticed.
No, he very much
That's
knows.
the light.
Yeah, exactly. So it's more like his imaginary friend, right? So the parents think it's imaginary, but he's actually real. So yeah, it's his secret friend. He knows. Is he reading Sodex again? last time our robot was reading Sodex. This time it could be something else. So.
He's reading The Capital by Marx. Clever kid.
See, like, you don't have to add like the volume to the thumbs. You can actually do it through lighting, right? And if you zoom away, it just looks like there's a hand. So you just put in the top planes here. And put in some subsurface scattering, right? So actually, no, there won't be subsurface scattering because they will be in shadow. So let me just do the book first to estimate where the scattering would take place. For people that don't know the 3D language, subsurface scattering is when light is coming through flesh, so something like this, right? That effect when light is like hitting flesh, and then the blood basically scatters all that light, and that is called subsurface scattering in 3D terms. And like that was like a really hard thing to achieve back in the days. Now everything can scatter easily and you can render it fairly quickly. But back in the days it was like, oh, how did you do the scattering?
Does it just apply to skin, or is it a term for light that goes through a surface?
Yeah, anything that scatters, right? So wax figures, for example, right? Like they scatter as well too. It's different from translucency, though. You know how paper has translucency? So paper, it can be like highlight on this side, and then on the other side you can see like where the light is filtering through, right? Like if you have something like this, that is translucency because it's not scattering, right? It's actually getting through. So a lot of people confuse these two things, but translucency and scattering, the difference is that subsurface scattering is when light enters a surface and starts scattering because of the material properties inside. Yeah. So I like to do for people that are not familiar with the term, if you have a hand like this, an arm, and light comes in, what it does is it penetrates the arm here, and then the blood inside and the flesh starts scattering the light all over. So that will cause something like this to happen, right? And the interesting thing is when you use like blue light and you shine it through your flesh, you don't see anything. it's actually cancels itself out because it's blue color versus red. So you wouldn't even see any type of scattering. But if you use like warm light, it scatters like crazy, you know. Okay, I think his face will actually put the book into shadow, and the book wouldn't be as bright. So I'm just gonna do something like this. You just put the book here, and then you just put the arms out of the way. I want to place them after. So let me just put the book here where I want the book to be. And then you see the light is coming from there. So this page on this side can actually receive a little bit more light. And, you know, when I paint in 2D, I think the same way, you know, like I think in 3D. So like the light is coming from here. So it puts a little bit of light on these pages here, and maybe even on the side of the book. So we have like this red book cover. Maybe we can emphasize the side of the book, so that looks pretty cool. Maybe a little bit of that edge here as well, and make it add a little bit of brighter highlights over here. And then obviously this edge of the book will receive a very bright highlight. So this looks pretty cool. All right. So since he's like a silence fan, maybe he's like reading about silence. So another silence. It's a picture book about silence. Here, silence is sad. Oh, I'm sad. And then I'm sad. Oh. And it's raining. It's not really important, but yeah. I mean, little Easter eggs that you can add, right? So this is a picture book here, and maybe here he's happy again. Oh, it was raining. I actually don't feel that as bad. So I'm happy again. Yay! Great. You probably don't see it anyway, but you know, you can do something like that. Okay, so let's just see this book. Let me grab this book here and make it a little bit larger. And then put the hands back into place. Something like this. Something like this, and then let's do that. This arm is actually way too long. So I'm gonna shorten it a little bit. Okay, this is good. Okay, I need a shadow now underneath him, so I'm just gonna do this on my environment layer. So let's see, we're like an hour in now. All right, an hour in, and I have the foundation laid out, like it's almost done. I can actually go into animating soon. And this shadow is way too dark, what I just did. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just brightening it up a tad. Just a tad. And then this shadow under the bed can come lower. And just cover it up a little. Cover some more ground. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. This is good. I think the floor needs a little bit lighting now, so I might be able to do this, get away with color dodge. I prefer choosing, and let me choose the colors instead of color dodge. Like color dodge is actually, you don't have much control. So I'm just gonna choose colors myself. So basically I'm just emulating where the spotlight goes. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
It is. It's super cool seeing you choose all those colors. Like personally, I make copious use of the overlay and multiply tools.
Yeah, it's always better to know, right? Like, because the problem with, by the way, Zoe, your stuff doesn't look like you're using this stuff. So that means like you have a very solid understanding of colors actually. Because the problem is when you become a slave of that tool, right? Like of those functionalities, because then a lot of times when I review like student portfolios, I can instantly tell. I'm like, you're using a lot of color dodge and burn, right? And they're like, yes, how can you tell? And I'm like, I can see that you're not thinking, you're letting the tool think, right? And it can easily happen like that. I don't see that in your work though, Zoe. Like your stuff looks amazing. So
well, thank you. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Or I mean, I guess good that you can see it.
Yeah, I think you probably have, like already a pretty solid, understanding of colors, even if you might not have like consciously practiced it, but yeah, your stuff always has a lot of harmony, like color-wise and stuff.
I mean, I certainly don't use the overlay tool just randomly. Like, it always takes me a few tries to like get it right to the vision in my mind. Maybe it's more like that I'm used to working that way. Instead of picking the colors, I just try overlay a bunch of times until I get it just right.
So I think, you know what looks good, right? So then you can react to what you see, right? And that's definitely also a skill, because I use it too, like color dodge and burn. I use it when I want to shortcut things, but like when I usually teach at universities and stuff in my classes, I would just say like, hey, when you practice painting, when you're starting out, do not use layer modes, right? Because they become your enemy. They could become your enemy if they're not used properly, right? So.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely get moments like that where I, look at a piece and I'm like, oh gosh, this could have used about 2 less overlay layers for sure.
Yeah, you'd be surprised at how many people in the film industry also use it, and you can actually tell. And I'm like, oh, this looks so color dodge and burned. I had a lot of those occasions where I actually, like it turns me off when I see it because I want to enjoy the art and I don't want to see the technique, you know what I mean? Like, and sometimes the technique is like completely exposed. And then, that's why I tend to, the way I learned lighting was like really like never using these type of layer modes, and it really helped me out, right? But if I want to like quickly darken things here, I can react to what I see, so I can just quickly darken things and then fix what I don't like, right? So I still use it, but when I first started learning, I definitely stayed away from those things.
Yeah. Well, I mean, also early on, you probably started out, painting traditionally, right? Not digitally.
Yeah, that's the interesting thing. I didn't. So, yeah, I'm completely trained digitally. And I learned how to paint after, traditionally after I learned digitally. And it was funny because to me, it was like going through like a portal where all of a sudden before going through that portal, I couldn't paint traditionally. And then I learned how to paint digitally and I picked up some acrylics and all of a sudden I could paint, and I was like, what happened? And I could apply all the knowledge I gained from digital painting to traditional painting because the way I learned, right? Because I learned colors the way I would learn traditionally as well. So that's why it was like instantly applicable. The only thing I was missing was the undo button, right? So a lot of times I put a brush stroke down. I was like, okay, no, I can't undo. So,
yeah, I know that feeling.
Yeah.
When I started painting more with Procreate on the iPad, the undo is like a 2-finger tap.
Yes.
And I definitely had moments where I tried to do that on paper.
I totally did too. And sometimes you actually do the motion and you're like, oh, yeah, no, this is not working. Yeah, it's so funny. Yeah, totally. Yeah, this is cool. I like how this is turning out. Like this is, and we can start actually adding some animation, but maybe, let me see. Let me just add a few more toys to the environment. I think the environment could use a little bit more. He's like kind of a little bit messy, so it's a kid, right? So he's gonna have some drawings. So let me just put some papers on the ground. And even with the papers, I want to make sure that they look more hand-drawn, so I can just add a little bit more like broken up edges like this, just to keep the hand-drawn style. And it's awesome because, like this is the stuff we're so desperately trying to achieve with traditional 3D methods. Like, can you make it look more hand-drawn? And in VR, you don't have to make it look hand-drawn because it is hand-drawn. So that's what I love about this method, like it's really fun to actually just hand draw stuff that you always try to fake in 3D, and it will never look hand-drawn perfectly because it is not hand-drawn, versus in VR, things are hand-drawn, right? So my friend Lindsay Olivares, who did the art direct production design for Mitchell's and the Machine, she came awfully close to hand-drawn actual render 3D. So I loved the art direction and production design on Mitchell's. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it. And I mean, she is like exceptionally talented. And even if I wouldn't have known that she production designed it, by watching the trailer, I could have guessed that she worked on it because she has such a strong footprint in what she does. So, and that's where they try to emulate, the hand-drawn style, right? So it's like a thing that you always studios always aspire to do, but it's not always successful. But I think Mitchell's was one of the things where it was really successful. So, just some crayon drawings here. This is my house. And these are my clouds. There you go. That's good. And then maybe he's drawing silence here. Wow.
So speaking of really awesome artwork, sorry, is anyone coming to Tribeca for Edward's piece?
Oh, Tribeca, I wish I could. Have you gone?
It's right across the street from me. So.
Oh, that's amazing. Awesome. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think anybody is on the East Coast, so other than you. So, that's awesome. I'm jealous. You can just go. Let us know how it is. You should take some pictures when you go into Mascaform Hill.
All right, yeah, definitely.
And post them here in the chat.
I'm surprised so no one from Meta is representing.
Edward told me Edward has some things in a conflict, so he couldn't go.
I talked to him. He's not going to come, but I just assumed somebody from the Meta team would show up.
I don't think anybody can make it. So.
Huh? I always think of Tribeca as like big deal.
It is, right? Tribeca is awesome.
They really highlight VR, storytelling. So it's a great, avenue for that.
Totally. I'm super stoked that Mascaform Hill got in the selection. It's so good. Have you guys seen it? No?
Yeah, I saw it.
You saw it, right?
Yeah, it's awesome. It's interesting. He's using that sort of technique that I forget his name. The Gary with the boxes and he kind of frames things with the way he laid out the framing.
Oh yeah,
I thought it's a really effective technique.
Yeah. Well, it was first introduced by our very own Daniel Pacer, right? Who couldn't make it today. So, and the Remedy,
Yep.
And then Gianpaolo is probably what you're talking about with Nightmara.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of. Nightmara, I thought he did a really great job of directing through that technique.
So here I'm connecting a little bit of story, right? So he's actually drawing his imaginary friend here, But damn it, the fidelity is too you can't get carried away like this, I made it look like a painter painted it, so I want to make it look like a kid drew it. So just fixing it a little bit, being a little bit more crayonish. Yeah, that looks better. And this looks way too clean here. Let me just do it like this. Yeah, so you have to stay consistent with those things, right? Then, like, if he draws like this, you can't have like another drawing like to look like way with more fidelity, right? That doesn't work. So maybe
he was trying to describe his imaginary friend to his father, which is a renowned illustrator.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. More houses with suns, and just because okay, this is starting to look really complete. It's awesome. Okay, we need a blanket actually. So the blanket can be blue with stars on it maybe. So I'm just gonna do the blanket on an extra layer. So I think he's gonna step on the blanket a little bit, and the blanket maybe would drape over like this. So I'm just gonna freehand it. I like freehanding things, it's super awesome. So let's do that. And then I'm gonna colorize it here. So we will have some lighting over here. And then we will have some, let me go a little bit more blue. Too bright. So I see it right away when I put it down, then I see what's wrong, right? So I'm just gonna fix it while painting. Yeah, that looks better. Okay, so this, and then let's put some star shapes on there. And then the star shapes on top of the blanket, they receive more light, so they would be warmer. And then they would be bluer in the shadows, right? So. These are way too bright. You can see it. They're almost looking like incandescent, so you can just tone them down. Yeah, that's better. Same with these guys, they look too incandescent. It looks like they have some phosphor. What is the material that glows in the dark? Is it phosphorus? How would you call it in English? In German, it's phosphor. So, not sure what that material or that element is called.
Phosphor.
Phosphor. Okay, it's the same then. Okay. Okay, so he has also a pillow, and the pillow could also be, along with star shape. And he likes space, so everything. Again, this stuff is also not a coincidence, right? Like he likes space, he likes kind of aliens and the supernatural, so he gravitates towards, like that type of, bed sheets as well. Everything is themed. So actually, that makes me think the drawings should be, this could be just a rocket or something, right? So we can just, I deleted more than I wanted, that's fine. And then this could be actually stars. And then a rocket ship. Yeah, that's better. Just to keep things consistent, right? You don't want anything to be coincidental. And then we have the pillow here, and let's bend the pillow a little bit, bend the pillow, and then fill in the gaps. And then put in some shadow. Actually, the shadow color is already here, so it's gonna do something like this. Yeah. Okay, I always love it when I zoom out and and then you can see how far you've come. And then you can see everything as a whole. It's like always very rewarding. So I'm just gonna add a few dots. Any questions so far? No? I like talking to you guys, so feel free to ask stuff.
What poster do you have when you were growing up?
What? Posters?
What poster did you have in your room when you were a kid?
Shaquille O'Neal, Michael Jordan, and MacGyver. I had a Richard Dean Anderson poster in my bedroom. It's so hilarious. Oh my god. And what else did I have? I also had some Japanese ones, right? Like Totoro and stuff like that. You know, I still do actually. I still have Totoro stuff.
Oh,
Thoro and MacGyver, what a combo.
Yeah, and then later on, you will love this Funi, and you know this Slam Dunk, right?
Slam Dunk.
Yeah.
Same. I had a big the poster, you know, with the entire Shoku and the crew also from above.
Yep.
The illustration.
Classic.
So good.
Yeah.
Mm.
I had also Dragon Ball posters. Also, like I had a lot of like Dragon Ball type of. Did I lose that?
Wait, the antenna is gone. Yeah.
Yeah, the antenna is gone. Where did it go? Did I delete it? Huh. Weird. Okay. I actually will use the sphere brush for this, so you can actually see it. Let me do it freehand here. So it has a better flow, and then I will just adjust the position with the grab tool, and then maybe use the thicken tool. Yeah, perfect. So the antenna needs some lighting again. And then here, maybe I will just duplicate this antenna and make just the underside. Yeah, this is good. So that way you can actually see the silhouette. Let me work on the environment a little bit more. I think we need like a window frame here. So the window frame would be white. So let's see, we're like not even an hour and a half in, right? So there you can see like how much you can get done in a short amount of time. It's actually like every time I'm still surprised like how fast you can create in VR. Like, you know, and you can get all the angles and stuff like that for free, basically. So it's like really fascinating to me, this medium. It's just so extremely fast. It's not even funny. You know, the frame is a little bit too bright, so I'm just gonna select the frame here and make it a little bit. Here I use a little bit of multiply because it's just about darkening things. So now it looks much better, right? So, but I would always recommend try to choose the colors instead of relying on the tools to choose them for you. Right? You're only allowed to use those if you can actually do it without the tools as well. That's what I usually tell everyone when I run my workshops and stuff. Also, you know, classic. People ask me, like, what kind of brushes do you use? It doesn't matter. Brushes is not what makes you be able to paint well. It's skill, right? So when you have skill, you don't need to rely on brushes. So another thing that I like to always emphasize, you can see like I'm just using the ribbon brush, and you can see how much variation you can get and how painterly it can look. I'm gonna remove this window over here, by the way. But yeah, you can actually see right here that you don't need fancy texture brushes to create texture, right? Like it really about deliberate placing of brush strokes. And don't get me wrong, like I don't hate custom brushes, you know, I just don't use them as much. And some people, like my friend Nikolai Lockartson, he does Procreate stuff. He's really good with his custom brushes, you know, and he has like crazy amount of brush sets. But he also knows how to use them. Like he doesn't rely on them. He just uses them to make his as a tool to apply on his skills. So which is like, in that case, you know, it's totally support that. It's like a little window pane. It's a little bit too small, so let me just make it bigger. And maybe, you know, maybe he has some plans there. His mom put some plans there for him. So let me just do like a planter here. Something like this with a cool highlight on the top, maybe a little bit cooler. A little bit cooler. Yeah, that looks good. And a little bit of soil, and then maybe there's some plants like this. And then we can actually darken this a little and put like a little highlight there. I'm just going to select them all, duplicate them, and put like a little highlight on the other side, just like this. And then just place it here. Maybe he has two. Maybe this is a different type of plant. Something like this. Well, there's quite a few people in here. You guys are so quiet. I have no clue how many people are watching, but actually now there's a bunch of people watching. That's cool. Too bright. So here I can also, again, use multiply a little bit and make it a little bit darker. And then I will change the hue of this pot because I don't want it to look the exact same. So I'm just gonna make it a little bit redder. And I'm gonna change the shape a little. So it doesn't look the same with the one next to it. There we go. So maybe this one is a bit smaller. And then we can also add the shadow. Casted by them over here. There we go. So we have the plants. That is looking really cool. I think he needs more toys though. More toys. So let me just work on. Let me just adjust my seating. Oh, that's a good idea. See, then that makes absolute sense to have a telescope. So let me just do this. Love that idea, Funi. Thank you. That's awesome. He's like a, space guy, right? So, I want freehand. Okay. So, maybe this is the lens here. Just do it like this. And then let me just put it here and let's see where would he have it? Of course, by the window, somewhere here. And we see what it looks like composition-wise. I think it looks pretty good right here. I don't have time to look for reference for telescopes, so I'm just gonna improvise. I think they have a thing that you can look through here. And then they have probably like an attachment here for the tripod. And then I will do the tripod legs like this. Let me just turn off the wireframe real quick. Something like this. And make it a little bit darker. It can be like carbon fiber tripod legs. And let me just put this on an extra layer just in case I need to move it around. Oops. Okay. Like this. Okay. Let me see. That looks pretty cool. Okay, so this side doesn't receive as much light, so it would be darker. And this side, because it's like a reflective white material, it can actually reflect quite a bit of the light coming from the light from the alien. So we can actually make it a bit brighter here on this side. And this side might be a little bit darker. And then we have some screws here that are reflecting a bit more light than in other parts of the telescope. And then we make sure that we can actually see the thickness of the legs as well here. So, yes, this is great. Great suggestion, Funi, thank you. Okay. Let me add some shadows here. So I love when the shadows, like go over something, because then you can actually, in this case, it's a little bit difficult to go over the drawing, but, you know, get the idea. Yeah, so it looks like, you know, it's falling on top of it, which is like super cool. I love that stuff. All right, this is looking really good. So I think I can go into animation. Maybe I should give him some eyelids. This dude requires some eyelids. So let me just add some eyelids. No, and there's something nice about the friendliness. So I might just indicate eyelids here, and he has just his eyes wide open. Just some indication of eyelids at least. Maybe they get a little bit of highlight on this side. Yeah, that looks good. Yeah. Now he looks a bit angry, so let me just make his angles a little bit softer. This is cool. Maybe a lower lid. Let's see what a lower lid would look like. Just free-handed here. Yeah, I think a lower lid would be nice to have. Just indicating a lower lid. It's a bit too bright, so I like this color that I chose before for the highlight. So I'm just gonna delete this and add this color. And then he should be looking at the book. So look down a little bit more. This eye needs to face down a little. Oops. And just make sure I select the eye here. Something like this. Yeah, this is good. Okay, let me just see. I want this this antenna to be a little bit more vertical, like that. And then I just fix that. And then where's the light? It's this one. So I'm just gonna bring the light a little bit and change the angle a little bit here. It's good. And then make sure this little static portion stays here. Yeah, all right. I think we're not even 2 hours in. I think we can start animating. So I'm just gonna start animating. This is the boy. And then we have the shrimps, space shrimp. Space. Oh, space shrimp. Okay. Oh. Come on. I can't spell. Space shrimp. Okay. I think this is part of the space shrimp as well. And then what I can do, let me think. Let me think how I do this. I can try something. So, okay, I'm just gonna take these and this and create a new layer and put this into an arm layer. And let me see if I can find a pivot that works really well for both layers without like really revealing. Yeah, I think I can get away with that just by putting. Yeah, I think that's good. What happened? I did something. Oh no. Oh, good. I think I did select all. Yeah, this wasn't my intention. I wanted to. Yeah, that's what happened. Whew, I had enough undos. Okay, let me just grab this and put this on an extra layer again and put this into a folder. So now I should still maintain the animation. And then I can do this. So now you can see that the arm is like moving inside the body, but for me, it's more important that it looks like the antenna is moving. So we can just do this. And a little trick I can do here for the arm is I just let it bleed a little bit more into his body color-wise. So that will hide a little bit that the arm is moving, right? So if I move the arm like this, it doesn't look like it's like sliding in his body. I'm just finding kind of ways to like quickly adjust things, and that's the way I can do it. And I think, let me see what I can do with the eyes. I think the eyes could be, let me see. No, the eyes are fine, but the torso I want to move. So this is gonna be the body. So I'm just going to select all of the body except the legs. Except the legs. You guys are still there, right? You guys have been super quiet. Just give me a sign of life.
Still here.
Okay, good. Good.
I assume everyone is mesmerized.
Still here.
Good, good. Okay, so
We're just in awe.
Definitely still here.
Awesome. Okay, so we're gonna do this, and then I can move this separately, right? And maybe, maybe you can use the eyes, move the eyes separately as well. That would be kind of weird and awesome. So I'm just gonna create a new layer, put an eye in there, and then select this eye and put this also under this. So now we have this is the left eye. And this is the right eye. And then I'm gonna put the pivots here, so I can do this. Yeah, perfect. And then I'm gonna put the pivot of the left eye, also something like this. Yeah, this is good. And he can move them like a chameleon separately. It's gonna be awesome. And then let me just do one thing here. We go into the left eye, and we might want to add, I don't know if we want to add a blink. A blink would be nice, right? So blink. Let me just do this. So duplicate frame. Let's see, maybe I used a flat brush here. And then duplicate, frame. And just, one thing about staying rough is really cool because you can, animate really rough too. So I'm just gonna, oops. Okay, let's see what that looks like. Wait. Oh, perfect. Okay. I think this one is redundant, this frame, so I will make the blink a little bit faster. Let me just, this frame delete. Yeah, that's still a little bit slow towards the end. So I think what I want is this to be slower. Yeah. And then we remove this. Let me see. I think I don't need this one, so now it's faster. Yeah, that looks better. Okay, I do the same thing for the left eye, for the right eye, I mean. So I'm gonna blink. Just freehand it. Oops. I'm just gonna compare to the other side. And just animate frame by frame. Just like this. Okay, let's see. Yeah, that's good. And then I will also maybe, yeah, this is good. So what I can do now is I think I can do something like this, right? So I offset them. So it's like offset blink, right? But because I did the blink separately, I can actually wait for them to blink. Like, for example, I don't want to blink right away. So I want the blink to start like at 1 second or something. So I can do something like this. This is good. Maybe offset it 1 frame more. So we have something, and that's pretty cool. Okay, so now we have the blink. And what we're going to do is we're going to cut the span here. And then we will reopen it here. Reopen the span. And then we can offset it by 1, and then maybe cut it here again, and reopen it here, reopen it here. Yeah, okay. And then we will do like a loop for the spray shrimp about, let's see, blink, blink, blink. Okay, I think an 8-second loop would be pretty nice. So I'm just going to put the spray shrimp into a sequence. I made an 8-second loop. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to move the eyes. So I'm just going to go ahead and turn off the translate rotation, scale and rotation, and then I can just move the eye like this, right? Like anywhere I can grab. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the keyframe here, keyframe at the beginning, keyframe at the end. I will select all keys and put them to linear. I turn on recording and I'm just gonna puppeteer the eyes. Oops, what did I do? I thought it should be recording the motion. Oh, I was in the wrong, I was in transparency. So I have to make sure that I'm in translate right here. Okay, let's do it again. Wow, this is a cool book. Yeah, I can see that. And now it's animated, right? Let's see if the transition is good. It might jump at the end. No, it's actually pretty good. So I'm just gonna go ahead, do the same for the left eye, right eye in this case, select all linear, and then let me just go ahead and, it's like a chameleon, right? So he can move it like any way he wants. And then we have like this lively animation with the blinks in place, right? This is pretty cool. Okay, next we animate his torso. So he's gonna be breathing. So his arms actually first. So let's do the arms. So for the arms, I do the same thing. So now I can move the arms like this, right? So I'm just gonna do a slow, kind of just like an idle motion. Yeah, this is good. And now we come to the torso, right? Now we can move the torso. For the torso, I want a more rhythm. He's like breathing. So 1, 2. So it's basically like 2 seconds for one breath. So we put a keyframe at 2, 4, 6, and 8. Right? And then in between, we just dip him a little bit. Every time slightly different. And then we select all, put spline, and now we have him breathing. So it's like very subtle, but makes it like really lively, right? Space shrimp done. All right, let's go to the boy. Let's see. We have the torso that moves like the pivot is still in the wrong place. Let me just move the pivot over here. So this is like the torso. Let me just see if it looks good from the side as well. Yeah, it looks good. And then we will have the arms. Yeah, the arms can be on an extra group as well. So let me just bring the arms. Could be like here. Yeah, this is good. But you know what? Like it's probably because the arms are locked here. I want to rotate the arms only from the elbows down. So I'm just going to duplicate this and put the arms outside of it, and then I'm just going to put the pivot here right on the elbows, and then I can just move from the elbows, right? So that way it looks like the arms are locked. So those are the forearms. We're almost 2 hours and still pretty fast. And then we will have, this is the torso, and then we will have the head. So the head is already moving right. And then we also need a blink. So let's do like a quick blink here. Blink animation. So we're gonna do something like, let me use a darker color here. Something like this. Okay, let's see what that looks like. Perfect. A little bit too slow, I think, so I'm just gonna remove this guy. Let's see. Yeah, then coming up is a bit slow as well, so I'm just gonna remove this guy. Let's see. Yeah, that's good. And for him, I'm not gonna offset the blinks. I'm just gonna make sure that they don't blink at the same time. Perfect. And then I'm gonna do the same thing here. I'm just gonna distribute his blinks. Something like that. Let's see what that looks like. Should look pretty natural. Yeah, this is too fast. So I'm just gonna be more towards the end. And maybe these guys are a little bit closer together. Yeah, that feels good, timing-wise, spacing-wise. All right, now see, I'm gonna animate the head a little bit, so we can actually do, just to make this a little bit different, we can maybe do a 10-second loop for this guy, so that way they overlap at different times, right? So that way you add a little bit more, oh, that's 10 minutes. We don't want a 10-minute cycle, that would take forever. Literally 10 minutes to animate. So we want a 10-second cycle. So I'm just going to do 10 seconds here. And then I will go to the head, create a keyframe there, create a keyframe here at the end so they connect. And then I will... Yeah, so one thing I like doing is like I'm just going to build a handle for myself, you know, like with this handle. It's actually easier for me to animate. For some reason, it's just visual, you know. I don't have to do this, but it just helps. So I'm just gonna, and he's looking at the pictures, and I'm again not recording, so let me just record. I'm gonna go to a different default pose, so he will be already looking at a page like here, and then I have to like redo the keyframe at the end so they match, and then I will just hit play. And he will look at the page, and then he will look at the other page. And then he will look over at the other page again, and then I let go, right? So I don't need this handle anymore here. And then I will just put linear keyframes, and then it looks like really lively. It's like really reading the book there, right? And of course, also here, maybe the forearms could have like a slight animation on them. So I'm just gonna do a very slight animation. Let me just turn off the auto select, and then, you know what? I will just move it in the Z-axis. So I'm just gonna play. And then he puts it down again. And he takes it a little bit closer. And let go. So now we have little bit of cool organic animation right there from the book. And then lastly, I will do the torso. So for the torso, you know, like I will do a breathing. So I think we did a 10-second, 2 seconds interval for the monster. We do like a slightly faster one. I'm just gonna eyeball it here, so we get a little bit of variation. And then I will just put the in-betweens like this, this, like this. Just very subtle. I don't want this to be like crazy apparent. It's more like a subconscious thing you pick up, the movement. Okay, so let's see. Let's see what that looks like. Pretty cool. All right, we're almost done. I think, let me just remove the sketch here. We don't need this. This is the BG. Let me see if I can merge stuff. Yeah, this is all the props. Yeah, props. And then this is, why is there an animation on there? I think that's by accident. Let me just remove this. Yeah. So this can also go into the props there. So we have the boy, we have the space shrimp, and lastly, I'm just gonna see if I can make a better background color here. A little bit darker. This looks nice. So what I can do now in the background, let me just save the background color to a swatch. Let me just bring this up and keep clicking. And then I will just bring the background closer. I will just let it bleed so it looks like it's paint strokes going into the dark. So I'm just gonna, you know, break up the edges here. No more questions, really? I hope this is helpful, this class today. This was super fun for me to do.
It's been incredible seeing you live.
Awesome. Glad to hear that. Just like drawing a bunch of strokes here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick the background color and then just colorize it on the edges so it bleeds into that. So that way it looks almost like a vignette, right? This is really cool. So I can just also duplicate this. Oops. Let me just, yeah.
How many triangles are we at?
I haven't optimized yet, so it's probably like, I would say it's 300,000. Let's see.
Let's see.
134,000.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Because I'm using the ribbon brush, right? So,
yeah.
So watch this, right? Like, I will probably do something like this and optimize all layers. You didn't see any difference. And let's see where we're at. 77,000.
Awesome.
Right?
Okay, that's super cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I love the ribbon brush because the ribbon brush makes things look very painterly too. And that's what I love about that one, you know. So.
Yeah, it's really perfect for this.
Yeah. All right, I think now I would go into sound design. You know, there's something here that I don't like. We can add a little bit of light here. This is gonna make a huge difference. See, and then the light should bleed into this area as well, a little bit. Just adjusting a little bit. This went too far, so I'm just gonna cover this up. Cover it up like this. And zooming out helps just to see the mistakes, you know. Here, for example, there's a big mistake. This doesn't make sense that it's bright, so it actually needs to be dark over here. Okay, let's see. And then also the bed over here needs to be darker. That looks good. Let me just quickly scan the environment. This one we can actually also make a little bit warmer. So let me bring some light into this. I'm just gonna use the forbidden color dodge for this one. Lazy. Let me pick the color. I'm not gonna be lazy. So there, oops. I wanted this color. Okay, there we go. Let's see. These eye whites are like too bright. I'm just gonna tone them down. Same thing with this one. Tone them down. This one is a little bit distracting, so I'm just gonna move this line down. Let's see, and then I will unify the rug a little bit like this. And here as well. And this white line. Now I'm going into fine-tuning, right? Just fixing some mistakes. Okay, and let's see. See, the lighting on the board looks good. It's looking good. Yeah, I think this is complete. I'm gonna add some sound design and I can share this to Oculus Media Studio, just grab some really cool angles and stuff like that. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this stream. This was super fun. I like how it turned out, and this is the weekly prompt, My Imaginary Friend. With that, I'm gonna say the stream is done. I do like a quick look around so you guys can see. Holding my head still. Doing like a little camera exploration here. Can I look through that telescope? No. That would be awesome.
Looks
okay,
beautiful.
Thank you. There's one last thing. I know there's one last thing that I don't like. So,
you can actually make a functioning telescope.
You could.
Right?
You could totally do that. Yeah. I don't think I will do that.
I think Funny did that, right? Didn't you do that once, Funny?
I did it for very simple for Inktober, but you couldn't really look through it. I'm gonna try it actually.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you could
did a really interesting technique.
Yeah. You could totally do that. Yeah, this is awesome. Let me just bring this color down a little bit. Like I didn't do the top portion of the bed and added thickness. So now it looks much nicer to have that thickness. But you can see here it's like way too aggressive. So I'm just gonna tone this down a tad. And then now you see how much this adds? Just like by adding like that little bit of extra, it just adds so much. To the painting, so see, like now it indicates it has thickness. So yeah, I think I can never stop. But let me just add like the thickness here as well, and now it's done. I'm not gonna do anything anymore.
Right,
yeah.
2 hours. There you go.
Yeah, perfect 2 hours. Yeah. Oh, thank you so much. Yeah.
That's great.
There we go. Now I really want to do the telescope, but and let's get close up. Oh, sad. Not ugly duckling. Ugly silence becomes happy again.
Ugly silence.
The light. His posters. Everything consistent. And there we go. There it is. My Imaginary Friend. Thanks for tuning in, guys, and see you guys next time.